don't listen to the Beatles run. Old Bo Cephas threw a jukebox needle at the honky-tonk where they boot stomp all night. What? Yeah, and what they call work a digging in the dirt. Gotta get it in the ground before the rain come down to get paid, to get the girl in your four-wheel drive. Yeah, the boys round here drinking that ice cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys round here sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Shoot her back, shoot her back, shoot her back a spit. Oh heck. Well, the boys around here, they're keeping it country. Ain't a damn one know how to do the Dougie. No, I'm not in Kentucky, but these girls around here, yep, they still love me. Yeah, the girls around here, they all deserve a whistle. Shaking that sugar sweet as Dixie Crystal. They like that yawling southern drawl and just can't help it 'cause they just keep falling for the boys around here. Drinking that ice cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Shoot her back and shoot her back and shoot her back a bit.
Let's ride through the countryside. Let's ride down to the riverside.
Oh, yeah.
Girl, hop inside. Me and you gonna take a little ride to the river. Let's ride. That's right. Lay a blanket on the ground. Kissing in the crickets is the only sound. We out of town. Have you ever got down with a do you wanna get down with a girl, you gotta get down with the boys round here, drinking that ice cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys round here, sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Shoot her back and shoot her back and shoot her back. I'm one of them boys round here, drinking that ice cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys round here, sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Shoot her back and shoot her back and shoot her back.
How are we doing today? Welcome to the WINGIT call. October 11th, 2016. Yeah, we're still here. What can I say? Take a knee, please. Lord, again, thank you for your guidance, your patience. I want to say this again, for your patience that you're showing us and giving us. Yeah, you need to mute out there. The patience that you are showing us as we wait on your blessings to do what your will, your wish is. And for that, I ask for guidance for my brothers and sisters to show them the light and show us the way. Thank you in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. We're not attorneys. We're not CPAs. We're not financial advisors. None of this is to be considered any form of legal advice. This is our opinion only. And for the rest of the disclaimer, please go to thewingitcall.com. Click on the disclaimer tab, and you'll have the rest of the disclaimer. Hold on just a second here. Had to send a tweet out and a text. So I've got some house cleaning to do, but everybody always shows up for the intel first, so I'll give you the juicy stuff first, and then we'll get to the house cleaning, because I know that y'all enjoy a little house cleaning. So, Art Master, come on down.
Good afternoon, Jerry, and everybody out there in Currency Land. Beautiful day again today here in my hometown. How about you? Well, we're at the same position. Go ahead.
Sunny,
Oh,
cool.
sunny. Okay, cool.
About 75.
Well, that's kind of sort of about what it is here. For a while, it gets cold nights in the 40s, upper 40s and 50s, but it's fall. But we are having a very good fall, because when it's in the 70s every day, when it used to be in the 80s and 90s, I'd say that's pretty neat, huh?
Yep.
Say yes. Okay.
Yes.
Hey, we're in the same position we've always been. We're going to get 800 numbers today, of course. Everybody says every day. But there is a good chance. As a matter of fact, everybody had been hearing Tuesday for the last few days. There was a post from Veritas. Word from Reno came out very early in the morning, said just received word from Reno that Tier 3 wire transfer final releases are on schedule for Tuesday. 800 registration numbers will release once that process begins. If everything goes to plan, it says tomorrow. He meant that really meant today, because he was doing this in like 1 or 2 in the morning. Sees the real beginning we have waited for. Nothing but smiling faces. Then I bet. That's Veritas, So many different new people, Veritas, and people that 6 years ago when I started, a lot of those are gone. A lot of new ones came and went, and some are still here, and some have come in as new. So there's all kinds of people bringing intel of all different kind in these days. I did get a call late about 1 o'clock in the morning saying that it appeared that there was some big meeting held and that things were now progressing, and we should see this possibly at 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific Coast time. That was last night. Well, we know we didn't, but then I received some more information this afternoon that kind of goes along, I guess, with what this meeting might have been, and I won't give it all to you because there's too much of it, but basically they had a meeting. Well, first of all, the political stuff is really wreaking havoc on a lot of this, and the cabal is still playing with it. There's still some of those folks around, and we know they've gotten rid of a lot of them, and I guess there's always going to be some around. They either surrender and play by the books, or they're going to be gone, supposedly. Well, that happened in the new U.S. Treasury Department. I understand had a big meeting, and the elders were there. They wanted to get this thing done, and they found out about half that new U.S. Treasury was cabal members, so they said, well, you can resign or face prosecution, your choice. So half of them walked out. So they brought a new Chinese elder person in to get this thing done, and they claim that this person took care of everything and that it should release sometime later this evening. So there's no guarantees, obviously, because we hear that every day and we say it every day. But got to happen sometime. Why not today be the day? But somewhere around 6 o'clock as a possibility was mentioned for the numbers possibly. But and then yesterday they come out with a couple emails I received saying that there would be no elections, that the president would announce they were going to put the elections off because one of the two candidates would resign. I think we know who that might be, because Mr. Assange is bringing all kinds of stuff out against one of those folks, and well, that'll really put a kink into a lot of stuff too. Let's hope we have the RV before all that stuff happens for sure. But the person I got information from today said they just want the RV to happen, GESARA to be brought into play. The new Treasury's already here. The new Congress, a lot of members were already put into the new Congress, working on a lot of stuff over the last couple of years, they said, actually. And they want to bring all this to fruition, I guess, before the end of the year sometime. So I agree with that, that's for sure. The only other thing I want to mention is, a lot of people have complained about different intel people and things they did or didn't do, and they bring information all the time, and it's not true and never happens, and we know that. Heck, I've been bringing stuff in for 6 years, none of it's ever happened, but I don't get a lot of people complaining about me, so I don't know why they complain about other people. And there was a post, and not everybody can go read this for yourselves. It's a little bit too long to read, but I think it makes a very good point, and it simply was called Yosef, guest post by Sweet 11, 5:08 a.m. I would suggest everybody go to Dinar Chronicles and read it. It just points out that you're killing the messenger when the messenger is trying to bring good information, and it didn't turn out, obviously, because it's been put out so many times, but everybody else's has been put out so many times and none of it ever happened either. So I happen to like Yosef, and I happen to think he has good contacts. I happen to think he's got good information, and I think he and Bruce probably have the best information out there. And I do think that what he's talking about the Zim, I think all that's going to be proven that it will happen the way he says. And that's my personal feeling. That doesn't mean it's right, but everybody's got their own personal feeling about this. So I kind of agree with this post. Quit knocking the guy. I mean, he's done a lot of bringing in, a lot of information, explaining how the centers are going to work and telling you what to be prepared for. Now, sure, he puts a lot of extraneous stuff in there that, a lot of people don't like, and you got to read through it, and you wonder, what's he talking about? What's all this other stuff in here? Where's the intel? Just give us the intel. Well, I kind of agree with that part too, but I guess he's a spiritual person and feels like he wants to put a lot of that stuff in there. Well, that's up to him, I guess, but nobody has to read anybody's intel. But I've heard several people come on here knocking him all the time, and I just don't think it's right. So if you can't say something good about somebody, I say don't say it, because, again, in the last 6 years, I've seen a lot of people come and go, and I've never knocked anybody else's intel. I've always told everybody, hey, look, everybody's trying to do the best they can in gathering intel and bring what you people want, either facts or what you're hearing. And sure, it's just like Tony used to bring stuff in all the time, never happened. Everybody feels he's a plant paid by the government to keep everybody jacked up until this thing happens. They feel the same way about not just Yosef, but Bruce and other people. And so I just think it's a shame that everybody can't get along and appreciate what everybody brings in totally, period. So I just wanted to kind of get that off my mind, because I've been hearing on this call and other calls just too much of that kind of stuff, Anyway, that's my say for the day, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Art. You're a tenured intel provider, and you're highly respected. You've been around long enough, you know what's going on and what's not. Some people agree and disagree with me, but I haven't been around near as long as you have. I'm going on 6.5, almost 7 years, so that's my take on it. So, Wingman, I see you're here. Hold on just a second. I know that Dinar Land is in a total uproar over Dr. Clark. We're going to address that. But I was getting updates during the Dizzy call today. Ha, ha, ha. And they kept kicking off anonymous on their call whenever they would call in today. And I don't know why. It's not a private intel call. Heck, I was getting updates while you were flapping your gums. Now, I got to say, if you could give us some clarification on this law that you're talking about. If you could put out a tweet, a text, an email for a little clarity here. Hold on just a second. It's a new law that goes in effect on Friday that says money markets don't have to deal with foreign currency anymore. And Dizzy says we'll be in the bank before Friday, or at the latest, we'll be notified Saturday night by midnight. So, Dizzy, could you please, I'm sorry, I'm talking to the wrong person. Linda and Debbie, could you please give us a clarification on this law that you're speaking about? Dinar Land wishes to know. There are some things that your underling Dizzy Bear brings to the table that is worth talking about. That would be one of them. What law is it? Where can we find it? What's going on with it? And Art, several months ago, I pleaded with everybody to try to come together so that we could all the intel providers, gurus, so we could at least be on the same page and let's talk about it. But the only one that really stepped up to the plate was Admin Bill over at Winsome. Everybody else, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to share my contacts, things like that. So,
hey,
unfortunately,
Jerry?
Yes, sir.
I'm just checking my emails. Let me read this real quick. It's about Abbott Downing. It said, Abbott Downing Wealth Manager in California called us and proceeded to inform us that all Abbott Downing personnel had received telephone calls beginning last Friday morning to be ready. This thing is going to pop at any minute. All Abbott Downing exchange centers are staffed and ready. They are waiting for instructions to begin transactions. Just more confirmation that everything is moving forward. Godspeed. Etheric Blue, whoever that is. So I just want to read that real quick.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate it. So if you'll mute yourself, Art, there you go. So that's where we are on that. And now that Dinar, star 2 to raise your hands, please. Now that we've got that little tidbit off the table there with Linda and Debbie today, maybe they can give us some clarification. But on to Dr. Clark. Seems that Dr. Clark and, as we know, Mountain Goat are one and the same. I can't prove. I got a text saying who Dr. Clark is, but I can't put it out in the call unless I can verify, because it leaves me, too wide open to liability. But from what it said, really, when did you send that to me? Just now? Well, hold on.
Jerry,
Yeah, go ahead.
there's an article on Bloomberg this morning about the new dollar valuation for the market, for the money market. So that is a legitimate that is going to take place on Friday. What's happened is used to be there were about 40% in the money market. There were about 40% government instruments and 60% private instruments. That has totally flip-flopped now, and now there's 77% government instruments because everybody's afraid of the private market. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to bolster up the private market, because private markets is clearly where the PTB makes their money, not off of U.S. government.
But
So that's a legitimate thing. Now whether that's going to create the RV, I don't think so. There's other things creating the RV. That's the whole point.
All right. Well, we'll talk about some of the questions I have about that, after the call. But anyway, that, and now we were hearing that some the Royal Prince or the whatever it is of Qatar was going to, this is off of Dizzy's call, was going to put 25% into Deutsche Bank and, try to save them. But as I agree with him, why would a businessman put money into a failing business that has tied up in 95% of the derivatives? That's like packing sand down a rat hole. Does nothing but piss off the rat and make a mess, and there's no benefit to it. So anyway, back to Dr. Clark. Really? April 2017? And our resident guru, Mr. Bear, has said that we're in such market terribleness, the state of the markets is so bad that it won't survive much longer. Well, that was with Deutsche Bank. We're past that. Now we're on to another crisis that's making the markets even bad. Yes, I know that China devalued their currency by, was it 100 or 200 pips, that's a pretty good That's not a full percentage point, but it's still a movement in the wrong direction, causing more stress on the markets because, in my opinion, the people that are supposed to be doing the right thing aren't cooperating. And so to get capitulation, we'll just devalue the yuan a little bit more, which puts more stress on the market. Of course, the quickest way to fix that problem, GCR or RV, whichever one you prefer. April 2017. No. And what was it just before Kuwait reinstated their currency for quite a financial gain? Just the day before, our emir has died and we're not going to do anything with our currency. Chapow! The next day, the emir is all fine and dandy, and there's been a reinstatement, and the people that bought low sold high. Hence, there was a financial windfall. So dispute that one. They didn't RV. It was a reinstatement with their new money that was printed. So, Wingman, what do you got to say to Dr. Clark about all this load of hooey that he's spreading around there like big cow patties?
He's part of the problem. It's just like, and again, I want to preface this. I'm very grateful to Art for what he does. I rely on Art to get all of my information, so I don't have to go searching for it. I read everything he posts every day, or he reposts, I should say. And even though I disagree with most of it, I still need it in order to make informed decisions and judgments about what I'm doing with my own business in this venture. So thanks, Art. I appreciate it. And without getting into who I like and who I don't like, Dr. Clark is just, he is another. There are several from what I can tell, from everything I've read, everything I've been told, everything I've experienced over the past few years, there are several groups operating inside of DNR land. One of the more famous ones was the entity called Mountain Goat. I believe Yosef is an entity. I've got over 300 emails and texts from Yosef over the past year and a half. And it's very easy to identify stylistic changes, different levels of diction in different posts. Even the people who have come out and supported him for the past couple of weeks sound oddly like the same group of people I would surmise are writing the posts that are brought out as under Yosef's byline. Let's put it that way. I think Dr. Clark,
are you trying to say that there might be multiple people writing underneath one pseudonym?
That's what I'm saying. And Dr. Clark is another example of this. All of these groups, in my opinion, are doing what Tony began through his handlers. The neat thing about Tony is he actually has a conscience, and he slipped in hints all over the place. And I mean, if you go back to my Gristle reports 3 years ago, Tony would set something up and basically say in so many words, okay, what I'm about to say is a lie, but I got to say it, so here it comes. Now, he never said that in such plain language, but that's what he would do through the call. He would drop big hint and innuendo and the tone of his voice, etc. You knew when Tony was saying something the PTB told him to say, and you knew when it was coming from his own analysis for the situation. And that doesn't happen anymore. They wised up. They got much more sophisticated in their misinformation. Where Yosef goes wrong is that he contradicts himself. It's like they operate in 30-day cycle, and there will be new information put out by Yosef et al., which contradicts what they put out the 30 days before that. I'm not talking about stupid little details like, it's going to happen at 2:05 this morning. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actual shifts in philosophy, shifts in interpretation, shifts in who they say are the participating movers and shakers in this. If you wanted to spend a lot of time on it, you could basically come up with a whole white paper proof of demonstrating how Yosef is essentially the mouthpiece for a particular group of operators in Dinar land. And I guess you're just going to have to take my word for it or not. That's it. That's the end of it. It's not worth all the time we would have to spend to prove it out, especially because we are so close. However, Yosef does get his street creds where street creds are due. He was the mouthpiece to lay out the first information on the Zim bond concept, which turned out to be true. Dizzy gets his kudos. He was the one that explained how the market is operating in all of this, and regardless of whether you like him or not, the guy provided a fantastic education so that when we are wealthy, what we can look for and what we will know to avoid when we do start to invest, and how we can research market now that we know what operates behind the scenes. Dr. Clark, Dr. Clark doesn't impress me. Dizzy impresses me. Yosef impresses me on occasion. Dr. Clark does not impress me. Dr. Clark he's just out there sniping. He also seems to be a contrarian. So whenever we do get real close, if there's something that he can focus in on that will signify that this is going to delay, he'll just start, hammering away at that possibility. But again, it's like what Dr. Clark says has 5% truth and 95% exaggeration. Where some of the gurus are talking about is maybe there's 5-10% error in it, but a lot of it is fact. Discernment. We've talked about this over and over and over again. And post-RV, that's going to be the biggest talent, and the people who are going to come out of this as generational winners are the people who can discern between bullshit and reality. It's that simple. And, I would suggest that everybody go take courses on body language, on voice inflection. There are experts out there who do this for a living and give seminars. If somebody gave a seminar on Yosef's post, they could probably identify 5 individuals within those posts who are doing the writing of the scripting of those posts. If you just look at Fisher's performance on his own call over the past 9 months, that guy is being coached like there's no tomorrow, and he's being scripted. The conversations now between him and Yosef read like a pretty bad teleplay, but nonetheless, there it is. And because the audience is not sophisticated, I'm not saying the audience is stupid. I'm not saying the audience is uneducated. None of those things. They're not sophisticated listeners to this particular way of listening to what amounts to a radio program or a talk show. People make a living interpreting what pundits are saying for their bosses, so their bosses can then make an informed decision on what to do with their particular business. So, again, do not take this as in any way, shape, or form criticism of art. If anything, art's been one of the most consistent and truthful guys in this whole thing, because what he's doing is he's simply reporting what's out there. And he does give his opinion, and we're all entitled to our opinion. But you just gotta, you have to as someone with power, and the money is going to give you power, like it or not. As someone with power, you have to be open to all types of information. Information you don't agree with, information that makes your blood boil, all of that. You have got to be open to listening to that because it helps you make informed decisions about your own situation. I guess that's it for my initial tirade.
Awesome. Wingman did mention that we need to go get some schooling after this happens. And let me add one more school that you need to go to, because Redneck Charm doesn't cut it. You need to go to Charm School of the international variety. That means there's companies out there that would teach you how to act, what to do in the presence of other nationalities that you're going to be visiting, observe their customs. Because if you're up in the high end financial world, one faux pas, or as I like to say, a foxpow or a blunder, will blackball you in that arena. So at best to go to Charm School. And yes, I'm talking about all of my Colorado residents that I talk with. Charm School. I'm sorry, my bad. Inside joke. Anyway, so let us take a couple callers here. Chula Vista. Come on down. Hello, Chula Vista. 619. Chula Vista, 619. Always got trouble with that caller. And I hate to say this, but y'all don't know how to make paste pecani sauce. That's for sure. New York City, come on down.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, how are you guys today?
Just fine.
I have a question because a friend of mine, and I was on the other line, called Abbott Downing today. And they asked them if they are, prepared, if they're going to be one of the redemption centers.
Oh, and I can tell you I know exactly what they said. We don't know what you're talking about. We don't deal with things like that and never will.
Yep.
Well,
exactly what he said.
All I got to say is some people are going to have a lot of egg on their face, and the best way for it to go down is with Tabasco.
Right. I figure they have to keep quiet about it, I guess. I don't know until it actually happens.
No, they probably actually haven't been informed.
There you go. That was my next statement.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. My wealth manager at Wells Fargo says they are treating us like mushroom. I don't know if you've ever been in a mushroom barn, but it's dark, damp, and very quiet,
and full of BS, and that's how mushrooms grow best.
And that's right. That's right, and that's exactly what it is. It's full. That's right. It's full of raw BS.
Right.
Yeah. No, they've done it. They really have done a fantastic job of containment.
All righty, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I shall not say the name of this lady other than she lives in Miami, Florida. Come on down.
Thank you for taking my call, Jerry.
You're welcome.
I absolutely agree with Art and ICO. And FYI, a second-tier bank here in South Florida, I spoke to the branch manager, which connected me with a wealth manager, which previously said they didn't know anything about it. But I met on the 29th floor in the building, and they do know about it. And I was able to explain my part of my education that for my PhD that I've earned from the call, and they were very impressed. And I met with over 7 people at one time. So I do know that this is real. In addition to that, I met with WF, and the branch manager said no, she didn't know anything about it. And when I met with her closed door, she said, I got some too. Talk to you later. So I am very much in agreement, but I think that many of the callers don't know how to discern. And there is cold talking coming from a retired federal employee, and some of the calls are coding. And if you really don't pick up on the coding, you miss all that threading information that is actually what is going on. And I'll talk to you later on some other things. Thank you for taking my call. Bye-bye.
Only if you promise.
I promise.
All right.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
*2 to raise your hand. *2 to raise your hand. New Brunswick. 908, come on down. New Brunswick, New Jersey, come on down.
Hi,
Ann?
Gary. Yes.
Hello. Go ahead.
How are you?
Take me off speaker. It's bad, bad, bad.
I don't have you on speaker.
There's a lot of feedback for some reason. You have me on speaker on your cell phone?
No. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask a quick question. And excuse me, I have a very bad cold. Do we know if there's still going to be something as far as the structured payouts are concerned?
Don't know. Hearing yes, hearing no, all kinds of stuff. But we won't know until we walk in the door. But if you want a structured payout, then you can ask for it, and I'm sure they'll oblige you.
All righty. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have a quick funny story about New Brunswick. It'll take 1 minute.
Go ahead.
I used to live on a street called Gillen Street in New Brunswick. It was 2 blocks long. 1 block was a parking lot, and the other block was mostly a parking lot, but there was still an old clapboard house from late 19th century there, and it was the New Brunswick whorehouse. The guy who owned it finally got busted, and they turned it into student apartments. And me and a couple of my friends rented one of the floors in this house, an apartment while we were going to school in New Brunswick. And every so often, 3 or 4 in the morning, there'd be a pounding at the front door, and it would be some guy looking for some woman that he met there a year or 2 before. Is Jessie still here? No. Well, then who you got that's like her? No, you don't understand. This is a student housing building now. Yeah, right. That's a good story. You know, I mean, it was all the time. And in the winter, the street people still used the basement as a warm place to stay because it was this huge open basement with this big old boiler in the middle of it, and it was just warm enough to keep from freezing to death. But sometimes they would trip the breakers or do something stupid, and we'd have to go down there and straighten out the breakers. And everybody was always very nice. We never kicked them out because it was freezing. But yeah, New Brunswick, Gillen Street, early 70s.
I think of bowling when I think of New Brunswick.
Right.
Bowling equipment.
Right.
But anyway, all righty, Houston.
Anyway,
can you hear me
right
now?
along? Yeah.
Houston, 713, come on down. Houston, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah, thank you. I'm listening. I hardly to calling in, but since I heard Mr. Eichel talk about that, it touched my heart because I've been listening to many people show and things like that for over like 4 or 5 years, and finally I keep getting tired because everybody have an agenda. They try to do something like a not for the Dina land. So, and then he say that about the UTEP or whatever people say, I don't listen to them anymore. So the only question I have is this thing is real? I mean, maybe a stupid question because I've been listening so long. So I lose the faith, I lose the hope.
Oh, so no, it's real.
It's real, and don't think you're stupid at all. There's 20,000 of us out here who believe in this hook, line, and sinker and know it's real. So we just gotta wait and see what it really is after it happens. That's the key to all of this. Is just don't be tempted to spend your money right away. Sit back and watch. You know.
The reason is it's not like I want to be rich or have a lot of money, because nowadays so many bad things. So the GCR, the RV is like a floodgate. They come out. So many real things can come up. And then even at that time you have a lot of money, people still don't need your help. That's what I've been thinking. So people now thinking about do the trust, how to invest. I even don't think about those things. Because like if I have right now I have $1 million, I'm look like I'm in the angel. I'm like a very happy already. So I never think about that money that much. But I think about like help the human being. I look at the Middle East. I mean, they just the less than 1%. They just try to create so much harmful to human being because like a World War I, World War II. When something happened, like right now, they create a World War. Now they try to create a World War III. And
sure, we know what you're talking about. Keep the faith and seek financial guidance and help from professionals. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Look. Miami, 786, come on down. Miami, 786. Hello, Miami. Michael. Hello. All right. You mean, there you go. Come on.
Hi, Jeff.
Oop. There you go. Come on. Got you now.
Sorry. I kept you waiting there.
Go ahead.
How are you?
Not bad. Oh, by the way, star 2 to raise your hand because otherwise it's going to be a short call. And that's okay with me. Go ahead.
I missed the very beginning of the call. I'll listen to the recording later. Was Art on?
He was. He gave a little statement. We're not going to go into it now. It's better. I don't want to butcher it. I want you to listen to it so that nothing is missed or misunderstood.
Oh, so it's all good?
All good.
I respect you, Jared. Oh, well, obviously, I respect him. I'm on the call. I love you. I love Iko. You know what I love about you? Like, Art will, like, talk about intel from places that I know you don't care for anymore, but you still let him on and, like, all of that, the sit rep report. And, like, I like that about you. Like, did you still let Art on and he'll say that? Now, I am a Yosef fan. I know you got a lot of guys on the call that aren't. But can I just vent on one quick one? But it's not to get you guys to join me and attack him. Please, I'm not doing that. But, like, I feel strongly about this. Like, he wrote Sunday night, I'm, like, really struggling, I'm at church. I'm like, man, life is so. I mean, I'm really, I'm being challenged in life right now. Okay, we all are. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
He likes this update. We are the herd about numbers tonight. Zim only. I mean, long, well written. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll say this.
No. Can I finish, Jeff?
Sure.
Remember, I like Yosef. Forget about the race. I get it with the differences of that. I like him. I loved him when you had him here and all that. Here's what I need to vent, though. You just take off on us now. You write that update like that. You got to come back and say something, man. I'm not digging this right now. I'm sorry. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know why I'm saying this, but that's not cool. Not to at least come back and apologize. I mean, that was a serious update that 800s are coming out. Literally, 9 o'clock, the debate starts. Get your Zim notes and get ready. And not to hear from the guy. He doesn't have to come back and give another sit rep, but say something. And he's being idolized and loved so much in the Chronicles. But I just needed to say that. I don't mean now that for you and Iko now to jump on with me, and we're all three of us now, drown the guy. I guess I am doing that, right, by doing this? But I just feel strongly about this because I feel he should come back, even if it's one sentence, and say sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me vent.
Well, at the beginning of the show, we said that Dr. Clark, if you didn't hear that, is a couple different writers. Mountain Goat, a couple different writers. Dr. Clark, not the same person, a couple different writers, because you can watch the way they write and they speak. Iko's got quite a bit of knowledge in that. Didn't you go to college for that there, Wingman?
Yeah.
Okay,
we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. So to get an apology, no. I have come out not just with Yosef, but with several of them saying, you have a responsibility. Stop calling it every night. Stop it. Talk about an emotional roller coaster. You're putting people up and down on the roller coaster. That is all on you. As the big 50-cent word, the onus is on you. I like to keep it real simple.
Right,
that's your fault for the that's your fault for the emotional roller coaster. To get an apology, you'll never get one of those. That's why I don't talk about dates or rates. I am thankful that he did bring to light about the Zim and about being a bond. Great information. And I agree with Iko, and I've said this even before I say this. He and Dizzy both have great information. Sometimes it seems to be just a tad bit embellished. Just a tad. Of course, some people's tads is bigger than others. So that's all I got to say about that. Thank you for your comment. Anything else? Nope, I guess not. All right. Oh, I love this place. Home of the world's second best barbecue next to Texas. Kansas City, come on down.
Jerry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hello. Hey, this is for Iko. Last week, Iko brought up the fact that of dual citizenship and the possibility of doing that. Iko, is there good countries that you'd bring up or recommend?
Let's say you can research.
I won't recommend them, but you can go online.
Okay.
You can Google dual citizenshiip. Ask Google a question like, what's the best country for me to have a second passport with? Things like that. And there is a plethora of agencies out there.
And see if it agrees with Siri. See if Siri and Google agree.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right. We were asking Siri existential questions last night. They were pretty interesting, the answers. So, like, what is love? Will I find true love? Who is God? I mean, her answers were pretty funny. I mean, obviously, whoever programs Siri put a lot of thought into questions like that.
So then I could really ask who has the best barbecue, and they would give me the answer.
Oh yeah, and she will. She will.
It will. Yeah. It will say. Say Franklin's out of Austin, Texas.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, to the caller's questions, absolutely, everybody should start looking. You should start looking into foreign bank account, dual citizenship, all of those things. You know, depending on how much you're taking away when we do RV, these things are going to be very, very important, and it takes months of reading and research to finally get the full picture. You'll find the information's out there. There's a lot of travel agent bullshit around it, unfortunately. Pardon my French, guys, but you got to, as usual, you got to sift through everything that Google's going to hand you. But there are professional firms that help you accomplish this, give you the current recommendations, and that's the other interesting thing is the landscape's constantly changing. You know, people who sought citizenship in one country 15 years ago are now a little disappointed with their choice. And I just found a great article about projecting economic and political climates. Don't go for the sure thing. Don't go for the quick fix. You got to look at the long term. So, but that's an important thing. All of this stuff, you know, and also just to get back to the caller before, one of the things that I want to practice post RV is we're going to be at a level of autonomy, let's call it, where a lot of things that used to push our buttons will no longer. We won't have those buttons to push. You know, we won't be economically threatened. Our jobs won't be economically threatened because our new job is probably vastly different from what we're doing for a living right now. You know, the whole thing about religious infighting and my way is it's my way or the highway. The world has to start looking at all those things, not to get too far off the rails here, but that's part of the responsibility that we can undertake if we choose once we have this kind of wealth. Because our baseline, I forget the name of the pyramid, but it's basically our baselines are covered. Probably the first 3 or 4 levels of our pyramid, or the 7 levels of the pyramid, which is, you know, I won't get into it. But the bottom line is we're going to be able to behave from a completely different place because so many of our needs that were so important to us now are no longer worrisome. Everything's covered. We'll have staff. We'll have unlimited travel potential. We'll have unlimited fun, really, I mean, in all practical purposes. And I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised at who and where they're going to be 5 years from now.
All right,
Michael, could you reiterate? Could you reiterate the benefits of having a second citizenship? I mean, is that going to be explained in what I'm going to Google and find?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And you know what? Absolutely, it will be explained.
Great.
So let's not take up a lot of time on the call now.
All right. Well, Jerry, appreciate it. I really believe in the way you're going to exchange. I think it's the right way with going something less than trying to get the most out of it. And I appreciate your call. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Go figure. I talk about them. Cannon City, Colorado.
Hey, good
Come on
afternoon,
in.
gentlemen. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Hey, Jerry, last week, didn't you say something about giving us a new update as far as, I don't know.
A timeline?
Not a
Okay.
date. Yeah, a timeline, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to go ahead and mute you out. We'll do this real quick. So, Iko and I had this discussion, and this was before that video came out, or I'm sorry, announcement by Obama on CNN about the Paris Climate Accord ratification. So today's Tuesday. Do we want to go there, Iko, with our new timeline?
I'm thinking, because then we're guilty of what we criticize others for.
Right. No, it's just our thoughts. We're not predicting.
We're not predicting the exact date, but if put it this way, if you ascribe to the theory that what's really happening here is a series of steps that need to be completed so that the next step can happen, and one of those steps is the GCR, which the Paris Accord appears to basically acknowledge the GCR has begun. There are more steps in the process. There's the RV step. There's the financing of this whole new group of people. There's what that group of people is going to do with their money. The steps continue. But we were concerned that there was a big hang-up with the GCR step, and that appears to have, that concern has been taken away by the Paris Accord. Does that say it, Chair?
Well, remember we had picked a date when we thought if it hadn't happened by this point, we were going to say it would happen by maybe X. Do we want to go down that road?
No, because again, the lesson here is when something happens, everything else that's going to happen after it changes. It's a fluid situation. We are still. I think that the joyful statement here is the Paris Accord was a huge moment in the timeline of the GCR/RV, and things are moving. People, I'll say this. This is just my personal opinion from what I'm being told. There are people who are exchanging. There are groups that are exchanging, and to borrow a piece of architecture that's popular out in Dinar Land is the tier 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas we are a mix of tier 3 and tier 4 groups and individuals. They are now solidly into tier 3. That seems pretty evident, and that's not coming from Dinar Land. That's coming from sources outside of Dinar Land. That's coming from the business community, the banking community, the international trade organization, all kinds of things. And there's huge signposts out there. The problem is we all get focused on something and then we stop following it. Well, for a while, remember we were all focused on the shipping there for a while. Well, if you're stuck with the shipping and you're stuck with OPEC and what the price of oil is doing and how the price of gold is directly influenced by the price of oil, and the news stories are directly the result of the interpretation of what everyone thinks OPEC is doing. If you follow all that stuff, you see it. You see it all coalescing and all coming together. And this is why, making these outrageous comments about Iran and Iraq, like they're the linchpin to everything that's going on, or even Syria and ISIS. These are all diversions These are all
distractions.
manufactured diversions and distractions to keep our eye off the ball. The ball is rolling downhill on its own now. Nobody can create a bump. They can maybe create a bump, and it might bounce up and down for a couple of days, but it's now under its own momentum. And again, I'll give credit where credit is due. This is something that Dizzy outlined over a year ago of the fact that this is an architecture that was put into place 50 years ago. And it's had its ups and its downs, and it's gone backwards sometimes and then leaped forward because of world events. It's a fluid situation. But the bottom line is we are now at the GCR RV step. That's where we are. And the Paris Accord is evidence that the world has taken that step. Paris Accord could not happen without a GCR. Simply could not happen.
And a lot of people, Iko, are saying, well, where does it affect us? We can't find anything. We've read the Paris Accord forwards and backwards like 5 times, and nowhere in there can we see anything about the RVGCR or anything about the gold-backed asset. Well, let's see. I'll use this as an analogy, and this you can find out. So back when the deal was made with Iran, just now you're hearing about certain agreements that are coming to light that are being made public, hidden for well over a year. And people were researching that one left and right, and they couldn't find anything about what they were doing. They can't do that. It's not in the accord or the agreement. Same principle applies here. They're keeping that hidden well because everybody, we hear that it's, and I'd like to find something. I haven't found it yet. I'm looking. We hear that they've reached the 55% needed. There's like 57 or 58% that ratified the Paris Climate Agreement, and within that is the Gold Treaty. Well, we heard about that in the very beginning from, well over a year ago, but then it got sanitized off the internet. People know, don't talk about it. We don't want the sheeple to find out. They can wonder all they want, but don't put anything out there. So that's where we're at on that. I want to get a little clarification. So let's take another caller here. Selden, New York. Come on down.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Redneck Radio at its best.
Yes, Redneck. That lady who was on first said she loved Iko and art, and she left out the redneck. I was very disappointed. I was too. Yeah, I believe she didn't give your due respect. And you, all three of you. I mean, I loved what Art said today. I love what Iko said today. I love what you said today. I think you clarified a lot of issues. It was one of more your outstanding calls. If you could, if they're not all outstanding, but I really appreciate it. Between Iko was pointing out, who you believe. I mean, I've heard Joseph on Bruce's call, and I believe that was him. He sounded pretty darn good to me. Now, I don't get 300 emails from Joseph, so I don't get his whole crew of writers, sending me emails, but if that's the case, well, let it be. But, I mean, I'd like to hear more of Joseph himself because he sounds like a pretty cool guy. I agree with Art there, and I think I agree with Iko there. I don't know what the official redneck opinion is, but I think it's pretty close. And I mean, he basically, like Iko pointed out last week, I don't know, I think he used the term 90% or something of the stuff out there is now, disinformation and garbage. I'd like to add a word of Ray shuns, verification and all that stuff. How about equivocation? That's a word you got to look out for. You don't try to do that. You got to look out for it because it's a big way to, communicate and make people believe what you want them to believe when you tell them half truth, and and so you get their confidence, and then they're in your hand. That's a con man's trick. But anyway, just to make that to go on and on. I like Bruce. I like what he says. I think he's a cool guy. I like when he has Yosef on because then I get to hear Yosef, hear his voice and that kind of thing, and how he talks, what he has to say, and all that kind of cool stuff. And of course, I like you guys. And I'm really scared out of my mind because if Bruce and you guys go off the air, we're going to be up shit's creek here. And so, keep it up, please. And I pray that Art is right and accurate in what he's saying. And
all righty, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, take care and God bless.
You too.
Thank you.
Memphis, Tennessee. Come on down.
Jerry.
Redneck Radio.
If you really had a clue, you'd be dangerous. Texas does not have the best barbecue, not even close. Kansas City does not have the best barbecue, not even close. South Carolina or the Carolinas don't have the best barbecue, not even close. Memphis has won every single national contest there ever was for having the best barbecue.
Yeah, I know, because they all came over there from Texas to participate in the event, okay? What can I do for you today?
Nothing. I was just sitting here. I happen to be a competitive cooker in barbecue, and I could tell you for a fact.
What's Myron's last name? Now, he's a barbecue specialist. You know what I'm talking about.
Mixon?
Yeah.
Mixon.
Yep, Myron Mixon.
He's a good guy. Know him well.
Well, good. Tell him to hop on the call and call in sometime.
25 years.
Huh?
Cooked against him for 25 years.
You know what? You mind if I give you a call afterwards?
Yeah, I've cooked against Myron for 25 years. So.
No, do you mind if I give you a call after the call?
Oh. No, you can.
Okay, well.
Not a problem.
Well, because, we might get you and Myron to come down here and cook us some of this quote-unquote world-famous barbecue post-RV. All right?
Okay, we can talk about it. I've got a lot of cooking to do after this thing happens.
Is this your real name up here? Don't say your real name. Don't say it's showing first name G, last name F. Hello?
No. Nope.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Alrighty, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right, have a good one.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Small world. Small world. NASA.
No. NASA. This is NASA, New York. How are you?
All right, go ahead. Well, I don't know. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm
Wingman, you got to take this. Wingman, you got to take this. I don't understand Yankee here right now. Help me out.
No, I was just going to say that you and that last caller, for a little while there, I couldn't tell who was speaking because you all sound alike.
Oh, we all look alike too. And we all have the same mirrors too in the house.
Yes,
we can see ourselves. You're the man with the chutzpah. Yeah, the other guy spoke a couple of weeks ago. I like your chutzpah, son. I just got a couple of things. First of all, you're very loved out here in Long Island. I've turned a lot of people onto your calls. I think most of them are too bashful to call in, and I don't know where I got the chutzpah to call. But I tell you what. I just got a few points I want to hit off. First of all, that caller from Selden. I think we could all agree with that caller when he said that we hope that Art is right, because we've been waiting an awful long time for this thing to come to fruition. I myself have been waiting 7.5 years, and I had to borrow another $3,900 for an oil tank leak. I had to have a remediation team come here and take out the old oil burner and not the oil burner, the old oil tank, and it's a lot of political crap going on here, and it's costing me, and I really, quite frankly, don't have the money for that. But anyway, getting back to this thing here, I just can't help believing that signing an NDA is a setup. Now, I know you've got my emails on this, and you've written back to me, but I just it's been on my heart for quite a long time. Look, these banks, they're going to entice us with ridiculously high rate, forcing us to sign an NDA. We all know it's a legal binding document, and you go against it, you lose your money, maybe some prison time. That's all fine and dandy, but I can't help but believe that they're going to dictate how to spend, how to get us to spend our money. You sign an NDA, I'm sure the banks are going to issue updates, because you signed the first one, now you're going to be obligated to sign a second and a third, maybe possibly a fourth.
Now, hold on there. Iko, I think we had talked about that one time. I know I'm going to get lots of emails for clarification, but I don't think they can make adjustments like that.
Well, we don't know until we get there, right? Like you say. We really don't know.
Well,
we can't really make educated guesses on it. I'm just going by something that I feel in my heart. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just pure conjecture.
You know what you can do, though? Again, give it the business litmus test, okay? What does the bank want? The bank wants the money to move. The movement creates interest, and that's how they make their money. So they're not going to issue a document that stops that movement. And also, if you think about it, a document like that, an amendment to that to an NDA, it would never hold up in court, because
wait a minute. You can't first, excuse me for interrupting. You can't go to court because you're going to sign an NDA saying you never got the money.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That is not true. No, that's why court documents are sealed. Okay.
All right.
Without going into too much detail, I'm very familiar with the court system. Okay. Having been in business, and been in court lots of times, because the more money's involved, the more often you're going to end up in court. But you can't make an agreement and then change the agreement unless all of the mitigating circumstances have changed as well. So the bank can't turn around and do a more stringent NDA. And actually, it's not the bank's NDA to begin with. It's not about the bank so much as it is about government regulation and and information.
Oh, well, that's just beautiful. We all know what the government's doing to us, all of us. So that's real comfort to my ears to hear that. Look, I trust you. I do. And I'm just thinking about what could happen. Without being paranoid here. It's just, look, we know who owned the banks. Who owned the banks? Rothschilds. What are they? they're a greedy bunch. $500 trillion they're worth. They own every bank in the world except for maybe Chase, which where the Rockefellers have major holdings in. Okay, we know how greedy those people are. Look, it happened in Greece where those people trusted their banks, and what did they do? They froze their accounts. They took their money. Maybe not all of it, but a good portion of it. Don't think that can't happen here. I mean, they could be setting us up for a big one. I'm just saying, it's just something to think about. You know, play against it. Do something. You know, and one other point I want to just say. All your rednecks, you got to eat barbecue? Is that all you ever eat is barbecue? Have you ever had Italian meatballs? I got the best recipe for Italian meatballs. I'd like to send it to you.
Oh, well,
okay,
you got the email address. Thank you, John. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry to get you in a twirl there. Keep the chutzpah going there, Heiko. Thanks for the help. Appreciate it. Guys, have a good day. Bye.
Ocean.
Hey, Jared.
Go ahead.
Actually, what he was alluding to. Again, it's another reason to get educated and understand what bank accounts really are and what they are not. Also to set up a trust. You know, all these things that we've been talking about. We've been talking about it for a reason, and it does. It protects our assets from worst case scenarios. So it can't hurt. It can't hurt. And I don't want to diminish. I don't think we would ever have a secondary NDA as he was describing, but.
And it would be called an addendum attached to it. I don't think they can do addendums. It's illegal.
Right.
So,
I don't think they can. But why not? But again, do all these things we've been talking about. You won't have to worry about an addendum to your NDA because your money will have been moved away from the institution that issued the initial NDA.
Yep. I got a text. This talks about a rate. I'm not gonna say rates, other than they're saying that the international rate could be in the 3-digit range, and that's without an NDA. So if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, Philip Tilton does YouTube videos, so you might want to go listen to his YouTube. He likes to give rates. I can't because nobody knows. Some people might know, but and hell, there might be some good educated guesses out there. I just can't go that. I can't go down that road. So I'm hearing that international rate, even if you even want to consider it called a market rate, could be 3 digits and doesn't come with an NDA. So if that's the case, oh my God, show me the money.
Are you talking about the dinar rate?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
a Zim rate.
You thought the big bad rate. Okay. All right.
A Zim rate of a 3-digit rate. I don't know. It's what was just texted to me that the Zim could come out at a 3-digit rate with a non-NDA because it would be an international / market rate. So there we go. All right. I'm feeling chatty today. You got a little time? Wingman?
Oh, yeah, I got time.
Okay.
I got time.
Oceanside. Come on down.
That me?
That's you.
Hello? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm close. I'm close to Oceanside, but I guess it comes up on that.
Yeah,
it's
it
interesting.
does.
But anyway, I believe this is the first time I'm calling in, but I'll tell you what I probably am in sync with certain things, and it relates to your discussion, Jerry and Ike and Heiko and Art. Well, anyway, about the integrity, I think, is what you were addressing with some of these people that are putting out information and they're not always on track with exactly what the truth is, basically. So what I do is I'm a life coach and I read soul energy. Have you ever heard of that?
Sure.
Okay. So, and I just want to give you guys some acknowledgement because what I perceive about you, Jerry and Aiko and Art, is that you guys are souls that have been humans for eons of time, and that on the earth you feel more comfortable than most other people. Does that make any sense? First of all, you ever felt like you've been here a long time? Yeah. Okay. You just want to make sure you're on the same page that I am. So there's certain personality traits that go with that. Some of the people you've been talking about, and I don't want to go into the names and all that. We've already heard that. But some of them are souls that have you realize that your soul is what is eternal. So, and it's hard to place what an eon of time is, but let's just say you would know what I'm talking about. It's something you always feel. But some of the souls are less experienced, so to speak, have less time on the earth or whatever you want to call that. There's a lot of ways of looking at this. But their life experience on earth may be younger than you guys. So what I put you guys into the category or to the tone of wisdom or wise ones. And some of these people are young. They're stretching out to discover who they are. They don't know who they are totally yet. They're learning about it, and they put out stuff that maybe the ego is trying to gain some recognition for. But I don't think you guys need that ego type of thing. But in a sense, when I look at the personality, like you guys, in a general sense, the personality of a wise person goes beyond their years and can be felt intensely and serious and maybe even highly opinionated, even at that level, but with a helpful way. They know what they're talking about. They'll ask, questions or be asked questions that, and they're very truthful about it. And they give answers that are based on that wisdom and the good solid advice. And that's exactly what I experience from you guys. I've been kind of like listening here and there once in a while just to see just what's going on in this community. It's a very diverse community of different people that are on different levels of their development spiritually. And sometimes it sounds good, but it may not be always, as I say, aligned and authentically integrated on all levels. But when I look at your energies, it feels to me, and I perceive it as there's more of an integration of what's going on in your. I don't know all the personal things going on, but I'm just looking at it in a general sense that there's a level of what I call integrity.
Sir, I appreciate everything you're bringing in here. Would love to hear a longer explanation, but we're nearing the end of the call, and thank you for what you brought in there, okay?
So I want to know if that makes sense to you.
It does. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. You're welcome.
All right. Grand Prairie. Come on down. 972. Hello? Grand Prairie. That's you.
Okay, I'm actually in Dallas. Okay. I just want to get a big picture idea of the call that's coming in. I don't know whether it's going to come in through email, Twitter, text, or somebody's going to call and leave a message. If it's not computerized, then you're going to have enough people manning the station so that if we have 1,000 or 5,000 people calling in at the same time, How's that going to be handled? Are we going to be on hold for a year and a half? I know they want us to get in early, but if you put the numbers out and we get them at the similar time, you're going to have a whole jam up on a phone like a rock concert or something. And so I just want to make sure there's enough people there to man the phones. And number two, how are these numbers coming to us? Again, I'm in one other group. They might actually call, somebody might Twitter, somebody might text. I think the cell phone is the best way to go because we always have that. It may be on all the time, but I'm not on my computer all the time. So I'll stop there.
We don't know. I'm sure that if they, I don't even know if they're going to, I know the numbers have to get out somehow, whether it's going to be through an email, whether they're going to let me tweet them out. Heck, I've even heard earlier this morning that tonight on the Bruce Big call that they were going to come out. And we've heard this before. I hope they do. So all the questions that you're asking, I would love to give you an answer. I don't have those answers. My apologies. I really don't. They will not release that information beforehand.
Okay. The other thing on an NDA real quick, the only thing I'm concerned about there is a bait and switch. If they have you sign it and there's nothing to stop them from lying, I mean, how are they going to find out if we talk to anybody? I'm certainly not going to talk to anybody. But if somebody makes up a story like they've done on some of the other things, and they said, no, we got you doing this and this, and there's no proof and there's no recourse from us, then what are we supposed to do?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. Hey, Jerry, a couple of responses. Really, guys, don't worry about being notified. When we are actually allowed to make appointments and go into the banks, we will be notified. It'll spread like wildfire, probably in a myriad of ways. That's item one. And item two, the NDA, without going into a no-fly zone, the NDA is really there to protect against the broader issues, like going on television, like writing a book, like being interviewed, being a consultant on a movie about the RV, things like that. It's about things like that. Is it going to be hard for them to prove that you told your neighbor about this whole thing? Yeah, unless your neighbor decides to turn you in for some kind of reward or something. But I wouldn't get too hung up on the minutia of that. The NDA is really just a way of acknowledging that we all understand the seriousness of this. We all understand that there needs to be a controlled release of information, which there does. We don't want panic. We don't want animosity. We don't want some huge backlash going. How come you knew about it and I didn't? They're there for good reasons. They're not there for bad reasons. I know we all mistrust the banks, and we should, based on the way we've been treated as middle-class Americans. But we're not going to be middle-class Americans any longer. Now, part of our responsibility is to make sure that the new middle class isn't treated badly either. But my point being, we really have to learn to look at things through a brand new pair of glasses. That's that. And I got to go, Jer. So.
Yep. So what's the last thing we say?
We say goodbye. We say farewell.
Say farewell. All right. Talk to you later. Everybody.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing me the privilege again of bringing you some information. I'm not an intel specialist, and I'm not a guru, contrary to a lot of people think or say or even post about me. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm a pumper and how I'm making money. Darn it. If that's the case, then I wouldn't be, like everybody else, living paycheck to paycheck. But thank you again for the privilege. Wingman, thank you very much. And all the callers that called in. At that, goodbye.
The conference is now completed. Goodbye.